Well, hey, Brian, Pastor Alex here with Kelsey this week.
Hi, I'm on spring break, so I thought it'd be fun to come and join you guys this week. This is kind of a family thing that Alex has been doing for the families of Berean, and we thought since it's a family thing, maybe we could do it as a family this week. So
Yeah,
I'm here.
so excited to have her with me this week. Yeah, like Kelsey said, this is sort of shifted to a family devotion midweek as a way for us to continue to encourage you, even though we don't have our normal family night activities. And so, again, originally this was something I was going to be doing for the students, but we shifted focus and are going to be doing it for everyone. But last week when we shifted our focus, we decided to continue to do something fun for our 6th through 12th grade students and have a little contest going in the background of of our midweek devotions. And so each week I'm going to give them a secret message for them to unscramble. And this week is no exception. And at the end of, once we're able to finally all get together again, I'm going to take the grade that has the highest rate of response for this out for pizza. So if you're like, what's going on here? Because you didn't tune in with us last week, that's okay. That is still available on the YouTube channel, on this YouTube channel. You can just go back, get instructions for that. So one little difference this week from last week is that each card is going to be one word, but that word is going to be scrambled. All right? So 6th through 12th grade students, unscramble the secret message. Shoot me a text with what it is, and we'll make sure you get recorded. So first one is that. So first word, scrambled. Good luck. So the world is crazy right now. We know that. And within the crazy circumstances we're in right now, we're sort of being forced to learn to do more things on our own. You know, like I've seen one of the things that people are having to do on their own these days is make their own hand sanitizer. We can't even rely on the stores to have hand sanitizer in stock. So there are recipes out there to, I guess, make your own hand sanitizer.
Or to cut your own hair has
Or to
been
cut
a
your own
thing that
hair.
people have been doing as
Right.
well.
Yeah.
Wouldn't suggest it unless you are very confident in yourself.
Yeah, I agree. But it just sort of reminds me, you know, it's important for us to continue to learn to do things on our own. I don't know how important it is, the skill of making your own hand sanitizer, but it just makes me think of like a child learning how to do things on their own. So like right now, our daughter Elliot is learning how to use utensils to feed herself, and it's going okay.
It's messy.
It's messy, and there's a lot lost in the transportation from bowl to mouth, but she's learning, she's getting better. It's an important skill for her to have. But again, it's one of those things that's important for a child to learn how to do. And I think one of the things that we're also being forced to figure out how to do to a greater degree on our own is invest in continuing to grow our faith. And specifically, as I was thinking about that idea, worship through music is an area that we oftentimes rely heavily on the church to provide and to facilitate. And we're trying to do our best to do that via our Facebook Live feed each week. But I feel like this is one of those areas that we can continue to grow on our own. And it just made me think of Psalm 95. It says, "Come, let us sing for joy to the Lord. Let us shout aloud to the rock of our salvation. Come, let us come before him with thanksgiving and extol him with music and song." It just reminds me that the fact that things look different right now doesn't mean that we're not supposed to be doing that week in and week out.
And I know that worship and music are often used interchangeably, especially in a church setting. We often think of like, oh, we're going to go worship, when we mean to say like we're going to go sing songs. And worship can be through music, but it's also important to notice and to acknowledge that worship is more than just singing. It's more than just playing instruments. It's not just the music part of it. That might be kind of what we're focusing on today. But it's also important to recognize that worship is an outpouring of our heart. In Romans 12, verse 1, it says, "Therefore I urge you, brothers," this is Paul talking, "therefore I urge you, brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship." And so I think the important thing to remember there is that it's not just us coming together and singing. It's really acknowledging the fact that God has bestowed mercy on us. He's given us mercy. And just to acknowledge that and to have that be our worship, be an outpouring of our heart as thanksgiving to him for that, a giving of ourselves when we are worshiping him.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely true. And the reality is that the fact that God has given us mercy isn't one of those things that changes depending on our circumstances or what's happening in the world. And as I thought of Paul and Silas, who went through a lot in the book of Acts, but specifically in Acts 16, they've just been beaten up by a crowd and then thrown into prison. And their initial response in the midst of that is to worship. And again, they're doing it specifically through song. And so Acts chapter 16 is where this takes place. And just an excerpt from that story, verses 22 through 26, says, "The crowd joined and attacked against Paul and Silas, and the magistrates ordered them to be stripped and beaten. And after they had been severely flogged, they were thrown into prison, and the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. Upon receiving such orders, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet in the stocks." Again, awful, awful, awful circumstances. But what comes next is incredible, and it's something that we can learn from. It says, "About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them." That's incredible. That's what they chose to do in that moment, was to lift up their voices in praise in every circumstance. And so I think we certainly can learn from that. So next couple. Did they go? Oh.
This way.
This is why I have Kelsey with me. She keeps me straight. So, how can we still worship through music on our own, even though we're not getting together on Sundays and on Wednesdays to join our voices together? It's still important for us to be doing that. And so we just sort of came up with some real practical ideas for how we, as families and individuals at Berean, can worship on our own. I mean, and the first one, very simply, is to just pick up an instrument, and even the instrument isn't required, but just to sing, to still continue to do that.
Another one is, if you have access to an instrument, or you have an instrument at home that maybe you've tried before, learning how to better your skills in that, or learn it in the first place. You have a piano, a ukulele, a recorder, whatever it is at home, using it as a way to worship.
Yeah. Absolutely. And if anyone wants to borrow a guitar, we have a spare guitar. So
or a tambourine.
Or a tambourine. We have a child's tambourine you're welcome to borrow.
We'll borrow it out to you, yeah.
Yeah. Another way to do it is, if you're playing a musical instrument is just not something that's in my wheelhouse, that's okay. We have access to hundreds and hundreds and thousands of worship songs. Pull up Spotify, pull up YouTube, and just sing along. That's one of my favorite things, is just get into the car, pull up worship, and just sing, knowing that no one is listening. That's one of the best, probably purest times of worship for me personally.
And when we're listening to some of those stations online, we often come up with new songs that we've never heard before. But another way to worship is by going back and looking at older songs. Specifically for us, we really like hymns. So kind of going old school and going and learning something that has been around forever, that maybe is one that your parents used to sing or your grandparents used to sing, or even talking to them and asking them, what were your favorite songs to worship to growing up, or what were ones that were sang at your church, and learning those songs too, because just because they're old doesn't mean they're outdated, and so the worship, the lyrics behind them can still have a lot of really powerful meaning too.
Yeah, I really like that one. It just reminds me, my Nana, who Elliot gets her middle name from, used to sit at our piano and just start playing and singing hymns, and it was just I loved hearing her do that and singing along with her. It'd be fun to go and pull out that old hymn book and hear some of those old ones that she used to always sing. And then the last one we sort of came up with was even finding ways to continue to worship with others. Like, we've been doing so many different things. People are going to school, people are doing church using things like Zoom, Google Hangouts, FaceTime, all types of things like that. So, grab a friend or two with a couple different musical instruments and give it a try. I've seen bands that have been doing that together, and choirs and stuff like that, and we've seen on social media. So again, just creative ways of continuing to invest in that area of our faith. And it's a good reminder, like doing this alone can be a good reminder that worship isn't about musical talent. Like, you don't need to be musically talented to lift up praises to God with music. It doesn't matter if you have a really incredible sounding voice or you find it hard to carry a tune. God doesn't care about those things. It's purely about lifting our praises to Him. As Kelsey was saying earlier, of offering ourselves, our voices being part of ourselves to God as a living sacrifice and a true and proper form of worship. So again, that's just sort of what we want to encourage you today is to continue to invest in that there's a lot of scary things happening in the world right now, but our God is in control, our God is good, and our God deserves our praise. And so we want to end today by singing a couple songs with you guys. It's ones that we do often at on Sunday mornings or Wednesday nights. So I encourage you, if you know the lyrics, to sing along with us, or you can Google the lyrics and sing along with us as well. So before we do that, though,
why don't you get your guitar ready?
Okay.
Do the last couple of words. This is a question. So what we'd like you to do is, once you've unscrambled all of the words, is text Alex the question along with your answer to the question. Good luck.
And if those of you who aren't 6th through 12th graders have a strong opinion on the question, feel free to text me with your opinions on that too. So I'd like to invite you to join us in a couple songs today.
Down into darkness, open my eyes, let me see beauty that made this heart adore you, hope of a life spent with you. So here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. Days, oh so highly exalted, say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross, and I'll never know how much it costs to see my sin upon that cross. Here I am to worship, here I am to bow down, here I am to say that you're my God. You're altogether lovely, altogether worthy, altogether wonderful to me. You call me out upon the waters, the great unknown. The feet may fail, and there I find you in the mystery, in oceans deep. My faith will stand, and I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine. Days of bounds and deepest waters, your sovereign hand will be my guide. My feet may fail and fear surrounds me. You've never failed, and you won't start now. And I will call upon your name, and keep my eyes above the waves. When oceans rise, my soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, and you are mine. You are Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. Spirit, lead me where my trust is without borders. Let me walk upon the waters wherever you would call me. Take me deeper than my feet could ever wander, and my faith will be made stronger in the presence of my Savior. I will call upon your name, keep my eyes above the waves. My soul will rest in your embrace, for I am yours, you are mine.
Well, we miss you. Looking forward to hopefully seeing all of you again soon. But till next week.
Bye.